But because we've walked away from God, we aren't just full of hatred, we're a people full of fear. Just consider this. We are the safest, most comfortable country in the world, yet we are the most fearful people in the world, aren't we? And I know tragedies don't help us feel any safer, but I just have to say that God's people don't do a good job at leading from a place of trusting in God and leaning into God. We double down on earthly institutions and earthly defense mechanisms, and I'm not against being smart or being protected, but should we really defend things before we defend people? Should we defend institutions and ideas before we defend people? I don't think so, but shouldn't we model confidence and trust and security? And I'm sure all of you have heard before, there's a command or a version of it in the Bible over 365 times, one for every day of the year. And you know what that is, don't you? There's a commandment in the Bible. It's all over the Bible. Do not be afraid. You know why the Bible tells us that so many times? Because we're very afraid. We're so scared, aren't we? We've got security systems on our security systems. I'm not making fun. We're very scared. Joshua 1:9, God told Joshua way back, have I not commanded to be strong and courageous? Do not be frightened. Do not be dismayed. The Lord your God is with you. I'm just going with you. You have no reason to be afraid, do you? I'm going to be with you. Maybe the most famous story of about God telling the people not to be afraid is the story of Jesus in the storm. Y'all know the story, Mark chapter 4. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, let us go aside, let us go across to the other side. So you think when Jesus said, hey, we're going to the other side, you can have confidence that we're going to get to the other side, even if the journey to the other side is a little bumpy. But the story goes that a great windstorm rose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, Jesus, asleep on the cushion. And they woke him, teacher, do you not care that we are dying? You don't sound dead to me. Do you not care that we are perishing? Do you not care? Do you not care? Maybe not the best thing to ask God. And he woke and he rebuked the wind. He said to the sea, peace, be still. And the wind was ceased, and there was a great calm. And then Jesus asked this question that I think it's silly for him to ask because he knew why and they knew why, but he still asked it. Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith? And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, who is this man? You know why we were afraid, Jesus? Because it was storming and we were sinking and you were sleeping. 1, 2, 3 reasons to be afraid. It was storming, we were sinking, and you were sleeping, so we had a lot of reasons to be afraid. But Jesus says, but why were you afraid? Do you not have faith? Jesus, who cares about faith? We were afraid, but doesn't faith mean that you don't have to be afraid? Jesus, that's just silly. Are you telling me that my faith allows me to decide if I'm going to be afraid or not? Exactly. Y'all have heard me say this before. We don't have to be afraid. I know you feel afraid. I know it's natural to be afraid. And I know there's a lot of reasons to be afraid. But we don't have to be afraid, do we? So it doesn't work like that, Justin. I can't help it. We don't have to be afraid, even though there's something to be afraid of. The reason why we don't have to be afraid is because we have and can choose to believe, to trust. Fear is a learned trait for Christians. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. David, can you really make that declaring kind of statement? I will fear no evil. Really, that's bold to say. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because you are with me.